Birth. Birth is so amazing. Thank the woman for her patience. 9 months and anxious, I'm still waiting. When the doctors say your name and last name. Birth certificate, knowing you created a soul that relies on your positive outlook. Has no knowledge on life tips. Could have been lifeless if mom didn't push through the night shift. Natural birth or shots to speed it up. Epidural C-scan are all words that we can make a life like a tree and watch it grow from the land. Love turned to plan. Some didn't plan but aware what can happen to the man that moves with the land. The woman takes a form not normal to the eye, but in genetics as normal as I. Stomach pokes out, wonder what's inside.
This never gets going, does it?
No, that's the entire song.
Oh, I let that go on for too long.
That's the entire album, is that.
Excellent. Well,
yeah.
I am so glad to be experiencing the miracle of life.
Yep.
Over here.
Bless all the fathers.
With all my best buds.
Yes. Yes. Obviously we have a title here. It's a big deal, it seems, if this is the definitive review, Declan.
Oh, I wasn't actually going to do that as a bit, but I just, if you really want to...
Yeah, give me it.
Okay, well, the Philadelphia Airport Smash Burger. So that's in Terminal F, which I think is newer because it's way out. It takes a while to walk there.
Mm-hmm.
And they recommend that you take not a trolley. A trolley would be too whimsical. Tram, something. I did not. I just walked there. It took about 10 minutes. Not a big deal.
No.
But got there. Your other options in that food court are a Chipotle.
Okay.
There's a Sparrow.
Oh.
There was some other fast food place that I think was closed. I was there about 9 p.m. I want to say 8 or 9.
It's in a bit of an early close, but I understand.
Yeah, this was on. I mean, it was on a Saturday. Kind of weird.
Yeah, but maybe it was like a breakfast food joint or something.
Yeah, there was a bagel, a breakfast sandwich place. And there was a sub place that I later learned was probably a Philly cheesesteak place. Maybe I should go there when I'm in Philly. I don't know. I did not though. I went to Smash Burger.
Yes.
I decided I was going to be smart and pick up a water before I went to the Smash Burger. So I did not have to buy a drink. I went to the convenience store, $3 for a bottle of water.
Of course.
It's like, okay, sure. Smash Burger, double burger, and a large fry, $16.
Oh my god. Whoa.
And then after I was done with that, I was like, well, I might as well go to this coffee place across the way and get a coffee less expensive than the water. $2.75 for the coffee.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's funny.
So, but it was empty, so it was pretty fresh. My shit was hot. It was okay.
Steamy burg.
It was pretty.
It
was pretty steamy. Yeah.
Nice, dude. Yeah. So the reason you were at this Smash Burger and the reason we missed a week or something? I don't know.
Son, I know we haven't been the best podcast, and you're right to be mad at us, but we want to make it up to you. We swear we're gonna deliver some great content.
Yes.
Reels. You just gotta trust us.
Yeah. Shout out to all the dads.
We're gonna be here from now on. Thank you for the tippy, Mage. It's gonna look real funny, stretched way the fuck out on my monitor. Look at that.
Here's the reality of it. Declan and I hung out, and you weren't invited.
Oh no.
That's the situation. That's what it'd be. It's that we know what? Sometimes we talk, and you're not around. And you know what? It's none of your business what goes on when we're hanging out together in hot tubs, topless, sitting next to each other, drunk, in a hot tub. None of your fucking business what goes on when it gets lonely and it's cold out and you're in a warm body of water with another man, mostly naked. None of your business. Keep it your fucking self.
You're gonna make him so jealous. I barely. That was uncomfortable for me, and that was meant for me.
It was only because I was trying to play footsie with you the entire time.
We shouted. Connor wanted to argue about Overwatch for an hour and a half.
Oh my god! How?
Just like, as long as you're quiet, and then he's shouting about how he has industry inside knowledge and how Overwatch 2 is a terrible idea. A sequel to the most popular game in the world is a huge risk.
I didn't know what to do. I'm like I don't...
it's the kind of thing we really should have let go, but he also should have, because he was wrong.
well, just like usually I'm pretty good at navigating these situations, but this one I'm just like, I'm not gonna let him have it.
Yeah, I couldn't let him do it.
I couldn't let it go. Or I'm like, oh, you know how you get investors interested? Overwatch 2. But he was convinced that it was, our friend works at like a low level marketing job at a video game company.
He works at works at like the modern equivalent of that studio that made the mobile Call of Duty ripoffs.
and he's been working there for like a couple months. I mean, I think he started in like September or August or something.
Yeah.
And now he's convinced he's got it all figured out. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What a fucking idiot.
I'm like, oh my god. I couldn't process it. My mind was just refusing to accept any sort of logic. Because he's around marketers all day.
Oh, he kept reminding us. He
was just susceptible to these marketing people who are marketing at him effectively.
It's incredible that he just couldn't. You just reach a level of drunk, I guess, where you can't listen to yourself, and you don't hear yourself saying things like, "Guys, I know inside people. I listen to marketers all day, and Overwatch 2, super risky."
Usually when I get drunk, I just start hating myself and thinking I'm a retard. So it seems to have the opposite effect on certain people.
Yeah, better to think it than to perform it.
Yeah.
I was hanging out down south, down under.
Yep. Down under with me, baby.
Yeah, some shrimp on the Barbie. Fucking went to Brisbane.
I dropped
Melbourne.
$800 on food in 1 week.
I dropped 800 or something. A lot of food, barbecue, tacos. We got some crazy ramen, man. I mean, I know we only went to like one ramen place in Japan, or I only did. You went to a good one. I don't know how it compares, but the ramen I got down there was better than the very, very low rate ramen we got like next to an airport or wherever we were, or next to a train station in Hokkaido, wherever that was.
I would say the ramen that I waited 45 minutes for in Japan, given, there's a context there, so obviously
you're waiting 45 minutes for something, it's gonna
but man, I mean, I think the ramen that we had recently, it was like 90% as good as the ramen I had in Sapporo. That's
the other thing about Smashburger. Had not eaten a single thing all day, so eating some Smashburger at 8:30 p.m. pretty good.
Was it? Did you enjoy? You didn't even talk about the food, really. You said it was warm and it was good.
It was. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's a cheeseburger. It was really hot.
Nice. Yeah, that's all it really needs to be.
I don't fucking.
Did it drip on you a little bit?
I don't remember. I don't.
Juices trickling down your chin?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
I'm a man. So up until this point in my life, you have known me as a man of peace.
Uh-oh.
I'm
a man pick up the sword and lay waste.
Now, I am a man of violence.
A most violent man.
I can't take it anymore. I'm on the edge.
What do you get when you cross?
You know what it is? It's grocery store parking lots.
That's what did it, huh? Yeah, that's what sets you over.
That's what's gonna push me over the edge. I can see it happening.
Society.
Every time I go to my grocery store, somebody's waiting for somebody to pull out of a spot, and they're not actually pulling out of the spot. They're just sitting in their car before they go in.
Yeah.
So I have to sit behind this guy, and then people will just walk down the middle of the aisle, like like the aisle of cars. And then so I have to wait for these slow ass walking motherfuckers. And then sometimes I'm clearly making a left turn, entering like the road in front of the store, but people will just walk across like if they're not even paying attention. And then you're in the grocery store and they walk so slow and they take up the entire aisle. And if there's a couple, forget about it because they're just going to walk side by side. They don't give a fuck about you. They're so in love. Fucking bullshit.
This is why I go to the This is why I go to the grocery store at like 9:30 p.m.
Disgusting. They disgust me.
Because I would be in your position. I need to keep myself under control.
Slowly closes.
Reaching for the DualShock in the passenger seat.
my eyes go dark. It's like there's like a shadow that goes over my eyes and you can't see what I'm thinking. I'm looking down a little bit, and then I snap and I punch an old lady because she gets in my way. The scooters, you don't have to ride a scooter if you're capable of walking. That's another thing that bothers me. Is like people who you could tell for a fact are, capable, not handy capable, and just instead opt to ride those scooters around. A lot of the time it's like trashy couples.
I never see those scooters except every once in a while when I'm driving home from work. There's these two huge fat people, a man and a woman, like and they like sit on a bench, and then when they're done, I think is when I see them. They ride their scooters back home next to each other, and they have American flags sticking up in the back, both of them. Good. It's unbelievable.
Sip.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. You got to get an image of that.
Yeah,
go viral.
Like there's not already 1,000 of those. I never thought it would happen to me.
Show me your fat couples, please. And you just got to throw it out there, and people will respond with their fat couples. It's like, this is my personal one. They go to my local movie theater, and I don't know, like they collect them all.
Like I'm gonna have a video of them, and that's gonna be funny. But they're gonna get a video of like the Doppler effect of my voice as I'm holding my camera out my window to video them going ah.
Oh my god, that's perfect. I wonder if there are any viral videos like that like you're seeing two sides of the same occurrence.
There's people that fake that all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, they're basically doing like a Simpsons bit or something.
Yeah.
Like the only one I can think of right now is like a guy tweets like, the really annoying, really common one that I think people have stopped doing, thankfully, is someone will be like, why is there something in this public place? And then someone will make a Twitter account named
blank in public place,
named after the object or the thing, pretending to be it, and saying, "Hey, lady, leave me alone. I'm just I'm walking here."
Inanimate objects are humorous.
Yeah. Or there's the one where the guy was like, "I'm handing out rotisserie chickens on Halloween this year," and he had a table full of rotisserie chickens, and then someone else posted like, "Who the fuck gave my little brother a rotisserie chicken?"
Yo, I'd be stoked. That's an entire meal.
That's a good ass.
Candy.
Yeah.
Candy's like, you eat a couple pieces and you just crave more, and your body starts shaking because you're not eating enough sugar. And it's like, I need the more sugar. I need to eat 4 Reese's cups right now in one sitting. But a rotisserie chicken, that's filling. Protein, shit.
Yeah.
Do you know that cats cost $300 million?
No, I don't think that's true. Is that in pesos? You gotta get out of Texas. Too many pesos. There's too many pesos down there. I think pesos is a slang for Mexicans. I'm seeing a lot of pesos walking around. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's just confused.
I feel like that would work. I think
people would know what I'm saying. I'm not being sneaky about it.
No, they'd be like, dude,
what the fuck? Yeah,
bro.
Hey, if you catch my drift, there's a lot of peso.
I like people not getting irate or angry, but more just like scared for you, like worried about you. It's like, dude, you all right?
Man, we're in a line at the HEB. We're in the fucking.
It's like, is your friend okay?
Yeah. What was I or you talking about?
Oh, 230 million pounds was let's find out what that is to US dollar. 300
Is that
million
all
dollars.
Cats combined?
That is the Cats feature film directed by
Oh, right.
Tom
Oh,
Hooper.
I did read that. Okay, I thought you were talking about the Cats.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Cats as a concept. Yeah, that's
People
a lot
don't
of.
want to see that, right? Like people don't have any interest in seeing this ugly ass fucking movie.
Do you have? Are you in contact with any women?
Yeah.
Because my suggestion is you ask like 2 of them.
Okay, I know. I perfectly conveniently enough, I know 2 women, so
Great.
I'll ask both of them and see what they have to say about that.
Yeah. Because my guess is that both of them will be like, "Oh, that sounds fun," and they will both see it.
They are cats.
They're cats. And Taylor Swift is in it. Taylor Swift is in it. It'll be fine.
I mean, I love Taylor Swift, but you know who I even love more than Taylor Swift? Rebel Wilson. You know who I love way more than Rebel Wilson?
Rebel.
This is my number one. This is my number one fuck buddy, my main squeeze.
Who's number 1?
James Corden. James Corden's my favorite.
Oh God, the
I like
talk
it.
show
I like
guy.
It when I like it when he's in the car and they sing.
Ugh. Yeah, me too. I love it.
Oof. Look at that.
I fucking love
cat.
His. Wait, what cat?
He's a cat. Plays the cat in the movie.
Oh God, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's more horrific than you think.
A lot of fur. I mean, it's like I wanted 300 mil. Did they individually like draw every? Surely they should have come up with some kind of automated fur technology.
This is the abomination of the year, right? Like this is the one, I think. Like look at this shit.
It's probably not finished. You're watching on a big screen.
I hate the faces. Because it's like human faces and then the top of the head is cat.
No shit.
but like
yeah,
like,
no, I can tell.
But not like Judi Dench's looks close because she's just innately more cat-like, but some of these are just like ugh. I
mean, people, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. People would be mad. People would be mad if you made it like aesthetically pleasing in any way. How much money? Do you know anyone who went to see The Lion King?
No, of course not.
It made $1.5 billion.
Did it really?
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Probably still in theaters. It's probably still going.
You know what I saw last night? You know what?
Oh, you told me you saw. You were gonna see a race car movie. Vroom vroom.
I saw Ford v Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know what?
You liked it because you were
fucking great movie.
Yeah.
It was awesome. They put $100 million into just like a movie-ass movie. Ain't got no fucking bullshit in it. None of them superheroes. None of them. Ain't no Star Wars. Ain't no superheroes. None of that crap. It's just about men making cars go as fast as possible.
This movie's just about some fucking guys. You know what I'm saying?
Just guys.
Finally, a movie just about being a fucking guy driving a car. That's what I want to see.
You know, they throw a Ferrari. They got the Ferrari.
They got the Ford.
They got the Ford and the Ferrari. And the Ferrari car is the evil car.
The Ferrari car's a bad guy because, it ain't American.
But then you got the scrappy car, scrappy looking. Looks like the Millennium Falcon. Goes fast.
Oh, but there ain't no Millennium Falcon in this. Don't worry. None of that fucking faggy shit.
Yeah, lame ass. It's about real shit. Like cars. Friends. It's about friends.
Fucking badass, fucking tight movie, dude.
Yo, fucking Matt Damon's the bomb.
How long has it been since just a fucking movie came out?
For dudes. But I do have to say though, it was the most invested I've heard an audience in a movie in a long time. They were just guffawing. I've never heard of like a theater just light up with like at jokes in a movie. It was fucking crazy. It was like a small theater too, but you could tell that everybody was super engaged and they had a great time watching cars go fast. And they did a lot of the shit was done practically, and man, can't speak highly enough of it. You know,
That's
it's
cool.
a sports movie. You know what's going on in it, but it's just super well executed, and it was a great change of pace from just seeing the same shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
I'm pissed. I
Anyway.
missed the Konosuba movie now. Now that the screenwriter for Smash Fiction for Pulp Fiction says it's the greatest theater experience he's ever had.
What?
Yeah, he said it's the reason. What did he say? It's the reason theaters were invented or something.
What?
I need to find that tweet now.
What is? So confused.
What the fuck is this shit? The Pulp Fiction
Wait,
guy?
Is it an isekai?
Well, it's like a parodic. I mean, every isekai is semi-parodic now, but it's a comedy. It's a fun, wacky comedy isekai. He said Roger Avery says easily one of the best experiences in a cinema I've ever had. I would go as far as saying it's the reason cinema was invented.
You know what? Maybe.
And his favorite girl is Megumin because she shares his daughter's birthday and he loves explosions. Megumin makes explosions. So that's yeah.
All right, man.
It was like, yeah, at first it was like, this is cool, and he just keeps retweeting articles about him saying how good it is.
I wonder if he got paid.
He has 365 tweets since 2008, and about 10 of them are about Konosuba.
Shit, dude. I feel it. Sometimes I go to a theater and I'm just like, everybody go fucking see this. Just Christ. Please.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. Kono what? This rules.
Wow. I took a chance on one of those Japanese animations. You know, Japanimation. And I got the big ass titties.
Cutscene from the Irishman.
Oh. I want to hear Scorsese talk about anime. I want him to compare anime to superhero films. Because we know his opinion on superhero films. He should voice his opinion on everything now. It's probably the best thing for him to do, really. It's just, you'll get your name in the news every single day if you're Scorsese and you voice a strong opinion on something. Oh,
I gotta get these opinions out. I feel death coming. I don't know how he talks.
So, the thing is about anime films.
Is he the Joker? Is he Heath Ledger? Let me tell you something about
big old honkers,
these
milkers.
Yeah. And you know, when you shoot the honkers in a wide angle, it gives a more comedic effect. You know, it's.
Then a little smile goes across his face. He's thinking about when he does it.
Thinking about titties, yeah.
Yeah. That's how he is, though. Oh man.
My new documentary, Martin Scorsese Dreams of Titties. Scorsese dreams of boobers.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Okay.
We did watch something.
Yes, we watched. Oh yeah. So yeah, this time for the big reveal. That's a different picture that I wanted to. Wait, what's going on? Oh, different folder. Right. Hold on.
Nope.
It's coming.
Okay.
Yep.
Flashes of my past coming on the screen. It's like, oh, that's when I lost 2 weeks of my life. Thanks, Evan Williams.
Yeah. He drank that much Evan Williams, huh?
It's gone.
Well, yeah, but was that you only bought one bottle?
Yeah.
That's not that bad. We watched.
It's a big bottle.
We watched MADOX-01.
Or as the dub would call it, MADOX-01.
You watched the dub?
I did.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay. Metal Skin Panic.
Yes.
MADOX-01. They're too good. They're like scary good at naming things.
Yeah.
It horrifies me. Makes me feel so inadequate.
Look, you just take 3 fucking words and smash them together.
And yet we can't do it.
No.
We fucking
Like think about it. It's like, okay, Metal Skin Panic is great. Then there's like Full Metal Alchemist, metal and everything. Metal
and
Solid.
Panic, Full Metal Panic.
Yep. Full Metal Panic. You got all of them. If you put metal into a title, it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah. This is it's
Mobile Suit Gundam.
Mobile Suit Gundam. That one's pretty straightforward, but it is good still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an OAV from 1987. And it's written and directed by Shinji Aramaki, who has done a lot of mecha things with names like this and like Genesis Survivor Gaiarth and
Yo, that's the best fucking name ever. What?
First of all, Genesis Survivor. You're supposed to survive Genesis. It means
Mega.
But sure, yeah.
Gaiarth is just smashing Gaia and Earth together, but it's awesome.
Gaiarth, yeah.
Oh my god.
We should watch that. That's probably 38 minutes. It's 12 minutes long. Great. Oh, it's 3 episodes. Yeah, so he directed Appleseed, Megazone 23-3. So 23 and then Roman numeral 3. He also designs lots of, he's like, what in the 80s they used to have guys who like just did robots. You know, like he's just like this guy designs the robots mostly, and sometimes we let him direct the shows. So he just like has a lot of design credits on stuff, not just mechs. He has like design credits on Full Metal Alchemist and stuff.
I'm seeing a design credit here for something called Scried.
Yeah.
Scried.
I'm familiar with Scried.
What a wild ass fucking name. They really, you don't see many going for that. That's a pretty unique title as far as.
That's definitely we gotta. Yeah, well, yeah, it's because they're like, oh, it has a kurai in the middle. This is very meaningful. You know.
Deep. It's hella deep, dude.
It's very, 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 very deep. We gotta get Scried has definitely got to be on our list because it's like it's a forgotten Sunrise show that looks kind of like Code Geass, but it's probably a little bit shittier.
It's got some Geass looking designs in there for sure.
But it's probably not what are they called? Not I keep want to say girth. No, it's it's the opposite of girth. They're skinny. Clamp.
Yes.
I looked if you Google Screed, there's a lot of really nasty looking screenshots. Holy shit.
Yeah, I just found one here that
oof. Yeah, that was back when you could just make a really generic show and it's like, yeah, this will be 26 episodes, I guess.
Just
fuck it.
What if we took a human body and just fucked it up?
What if we put some spikes and some these designs are not looking. None of this is looking great. Actually, I might have to retract this has got to be on our list. Ooh, wow. No, he did just like rip a guy's heart out. That's kind of cool.
We got dumb looking arms.
I got some deviant art.
Man.
By the Tide Jutsu. This one's great.
You could get yourself a Scried bicycle shirt if you want that.
What's a bicycle shirt?
Wow. He's right. He can't compete with their height.
You can't compete with their height. He's
short because he didn't drink his milk. Anyways,
MADOX.
Yep.
It's produced by one Hideaki Anno.
Who?
Hideaki Anno. Anno 2023. Anno 2077.
He's that voice actor, right?
Yeah, he's from the Plane movie.
Yeah,
he voices the Zero. He's just yes.
I love Hayao Miyazaki.
Miyazaki-san had me in the studio recording plane noises for 16 hours.
That's like, a lot of people think of Hideaki Anno for his brilliant directorial mind, but really he's just good at making noises. His cat sounds are second to none. It's got that.
It's true. He's good at cat noises. Yeah, him doing plane noises isn't even that ridiculous.
No,
they just had him do a cat, which is so good because if you're like you're like directing this project on a studio that just came off like the most successful thing of all time, and the previous director just like, yeah, you're a cat now, motherfucker. I really want to. I guess he made him animate Evangelion for like 3 years, so I guess that's
payback.
That's okay, revenge, yeah. Yeah, so Gainax does have a key animation credit. The the production credits. Again, it's the 80s, so it's one of those things where 4 studios get the production credit. They share it. The main ones seem to be AIC and Artmic. I like to think of myself as an Artmic.
Oh my god.
What? That's not shocking. What? I can say it.
You do get to say it.
I do get to say
your
it.
Heritage.
Yeah. My 1/8 Irish. That's your.
You fucking Declan O'Dougall over here.
That's me. It's basically that ridiculous. Yeah.
Declan O'Connor.
Fucking. Patrick.
Yep. Just anything with it. No.
O'Toole.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm an 8th Irish, and my name might as well be Patty Mc Whiskey Shillelagh.
Patty McPattywagon.
Yeah, it was like I feel like if I went to Ireland and I told people my name, they would be like,
"Shut the fuck up."
Oi, laddie, easy there on the Mick shit, boy.
Think you're having me on then?
Yeah, you taking the piss? It would be like if an American guy visited Japan and he was like, "Hi, my name's Baseball. My name's Baseball McApplepie."
Oh, McApplepie.
My name is Baseball Obesity. Hey, konnichiwa. Ore, baseball California desu toimashimasu.
Oh, no. 9/11 Imperio desu.
What was the second?
It was supposed to be imperialism.
Oh, okay, you tried.
Yeah, well, they tried, and that's the thing that matters. They can't really pronounce the R's and the L's right, but they put in the most effort, and that's what counts.
My name is Clint. My name is East Clint Wood. MADOX.
Yes.
Is 41 minutes long, and I wanted to watch it because I wanted to see some mech stuff, and we get a decent.
Oh no. You cut out. Oh no, he's gone. Can't hear him. Oh no. Hello. Oh no. What bad timing.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, well, sometimes just Discord decides your mic doesn't want to work anymore. It's like, nah, this should be off, actually, I've decided.
That's just like the worst timing. We're finally about to talk about thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mech stuff. Did I say mech stuff?
Yeah.
They give us the obligatory clenching hand shot.
Of course.
You see that the actions mirror in the robot, because that's important. And then there's this tank fight at the very beginning. No dialogue tank fight.
This reminded me a lot of Metal Gear Solid 4 for some reason.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
mechs in like a blown out Middle Eastern area.
This is probably ripping off all the same stuff that Metal Gear ripped off, so
yes.
I can imagine that. There's some wild 80s panning. I don't know what's going on with these 80s shows and the panning shots. I don't know if that was them fucking up or if it just doesn't work now, but a little bit of
It looks like a transcode
weirdness.
thing, or like when it was transferred to digital, something's fucked up.
Okay, my mic fucks up one time, Mage. You don't have to. Then now you pipe up. We're raising him. He's just like us. He only criticizes.
You could be cheering us on.
We're such terrible influences.
We're not back.
I learned from you, Dad. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the responsibility of the streamer.
How can I reach this kid?
How can I reach these kids? These mages. MADOX. The sound effects really come across as wonderfully shitty. They're so low bit rate, and they really do sound like Anno was just in front of a mic going,
Well, it's very flat. Like there's just no sort of
it's like
dynamics to it at all.
It's like all bass, but like not enough still or something. Yep. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's like all in the mids.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's no like kind of squealing shit. You know, like that's a huge portion.
Or if there is, it's by itself. They don't combine. It's occasionally there'll be like a wow, you know.
Well, that costs money.
I
There
guess.
was one thing that sounded like a Star Wars sound effect at one point.
Oh, all of these are out of a library or stolen.
Yeah.
All of this shit's stolen. It's 1987. It's Anno, bitch. It's all stolen. Yeah, like I'm sure some of these sound effects have to be in Dragon Ball Z. Like I just felt like my brain was just like, yes, I know these. Yeah, the thing's fighting all these tanks, and there's a lot of good English in here. When the tank dies, its screen says you are terminated, and below that, maneuvers are over.
Yeah, there was also what the fuck? It was in like the first shot, I think. Slave Trooper Type 01 is just on the screen
that's
at one
that's
point.
the robot's name. They mentioned that in dialogue. Oh, right, you watched the dub, so they probably didn't call it that in the English dub.
They called it the MADOX the whole time.
Okay, it's also known as the Slave Trooper one, but when he's reading the manual, it's the Slave Driver one.
Whoa!
It rules. After it was all a demonstration, by the way. It was a simulation, and amazing line, which shouldn't be as funny as it is, but it's so funny when the lady gets out and the guy demonstrating is like, this is Captain or Miss so and so. She agreed to pilot MADOX despite being a woman.
Yeah, why you gotta call that out?
Does he say that in the dub?
Yeah, no, dude. It's there. It's just so weird.
It's it's really funny now.
I guess contextually you wouldn't be having women in the military. When did that start? When
did what start?
When was women in the military like a thing?
Never.
Like when women are in the military,
Oh, you mean when it started like a year ago?
Yeah, okay.
Or in combat,
yeah.
as like nurses, maybe 150 something.
Well, what about Mulan? That shit was like 10,000 billion years ago.
I saw this fucking movie, Mulan. That shit. These fucking pussy movies, this shit was so fucking raw, bro. This shit was like 8,000 years ago, and this bitch was fucking dudes up. Does Mulan kill it? I've never seen Mulan. Does she kill people?
She never.
Isn't she going to war or
anybody
something?
with a sword?
Okay.
I think. But like
she
causes,
bonking people on the head.
She causes an avalanche that kills many people.
You go, girl.
Man, Mulan. They're telling her she can't be no fighter because she got a pussy, but she's like, nah, man.
Yeah, they got this fucking Thamos guy or fucking whatever. I saw this movie a while ago. I think it was called Mulam. This fucking bitch tore down a mountain. No, I fucking saw it. It was. I remember now. It was.
Mojang.
Anyway, it was Mojang. I saw it on my fucking phone the other day. It was actually Mojang. And this fucking Mojang bitch dropped a mountain on Robin Williams. He was like this fat blue bastard. She got him good. She donked him, she brained him.
And then she wakes up in a spaceship. In this fucking spaceship, she's like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" And then this thing, it sticks its fucking tentacles in this dude's mouth and gets him all pregnant. And then this fucking thing pops out of his stomach. Anyway,
I'm sorry. No, I got my movies mixed up. I was thinking of Lilo and Stitch there. I fucked up. That last part wasn't from Malarm.
I really appreciate you having patience with me. I know like, sometimes I talk about things and they don't exactly line up, but the humanity that you show me in order to just listen to what I have to say really touches me.
I really appreciate you being my friend despite my early onset Alzheimer's, buddy.
He's talking to a wall. Why did we do this to this poor man?
I love Dago guy who hates Marvel movies and only likes Mulan. And also has dementia.
What a confusing man. Nobody will truly understand him.
Yeah, man, this is a torch. This is one of our more complex characters.
He's a creature.
He's 17.
What does he do?
He's in the cafeteria.
Anyway, I'm gonna go play some fucking dodgeball. No, please. We're playing basketball today. Anyway, heads up.
Jared, this is history class.
Was this what it was like the 3 years you lived in Boston?
Yeah, this is what everyone sounds like. I'm gonna go down cellar and fucking play some dodgeball.
Just hitting himself. He's just whipping balls against the wall to keep back.
Oh, this is
hitting him in the head.
This is wicked sweet. He's just destroying his own brain. The doctors tell me I have CTE or something, but this is too much fun. Let me tell you.
I got some of Rob Gronkowski's CBD water. That cured that shit right up.
His mom's upstairs just like, doctor, he's doing the dodgeball thing again. How do I? He won't stop.
Ma, bring me another one of the Monster Gronk flavors. Get down here. I'm trying to cure my CTE.
Ma, we're out of Gronk. Ma.
Now he's supposed. Oh my God, Tom Brady. He's the GOAT, man.
He calls the Jack Daniels Gronk now for some reason. Okay, we have to stop building. We have to stop building Jared.
It's this fucking house of cards that we built that's ready to topple at any second. The second you pull away any of these things, it's like, wait a minute, none of this works.
If we get Jared working,
he's a funnier character than we've ever had before.
It's true.
Oh, he's this fucking leaning tower of Pisa with no base whatsoever. He's just whatever we need him to be at the moment. Oh, okay.
Hate Marvel, love Mulan, simple as, buddy. So the antagonist in MADOX is this Vegeta-looking guy who's evil, smiling permanently. I don't think there's a single frame of this where he's not smiling, except maybe when he loses in the first tank battle. So the impetus for all the conflict here is that MADOX is being transported via like a dude's sedan, and he gets so sleepy that his tire explodes.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, this is really fucking stupid, by the way.
I was told don't line up.
I was told it was stupid, but it's way stupider than I expected, and I'm so glad. So yeah, he's falling asleep at the wheel, which causes his whole car to just like flip over several times, explode. And it lands in this high school guy's like workshop he works at part-time, like a mechanic shop. And he looks at the label on this box, and a whole lot more English that I spent way too much time trying to figure out the origin of. As far as I can tell, because it looks exactly like they copy and pasted something, but it's like a fake interview with Steven Lisberger, the director of Tron. And it looks like it's an interview about a sequel to 2001. I don't know what's going on.
Wait, did that happen? I mean, they did make 2010. Who did that?
Yeah, this is 3 years after 2010. I don't think Steven Lisberger was involved at all. So there's 3 sentences here that get cut off. Maybe they're all from separate things, but I definitely searched for them, and they don't exist on the internet at least anymore, except in like one place. Where some guy, the only place this is quoted directly on the internet is some guy's college webpage that was last updated in 1997 that mentions like, hey, MADOX has this hidden joke. But yeah,
is it a joke?
I mean, he thought it was. I don't know what this is. Walt Disney Productions, Steven Lisberger, director. Quote, the design work for this feature started with the aircraft. That's the end of that.
You know what it is? It's just definitely they had like a movie interview magazine at the office.
And
it was in English. They just copied that shit over.
Yeah, weird.
U.S. Army Marines.
Yeah, that's Yeah, okay. So it's just 3 originally. Okay, so it's Ridley Scott, sequel to 2001, and then Steven Lisberger. All right. What would Steven Lisberger have been working on that involved an aircraft, though? The design started with an aircraft. I guess it could have been Does Tron have an aircraft?
They
Or
might
is
have
he-
just taken inspiration from aircraft for Tron, you know.
Oh, maybe. Huh. You may never know. So Maddox is missing. So they take everyone down to the information room where it is very dark and everyone is wearing sunglasses. And they talk about how to get it. And Tank Guy is ready to fucking suit up and head in. There's a great musical cue at this point. There's a lot of good musical cues in here. And then we get the setup that our mechanic guy is having girl trubs. Which is very straightforward. It consists of his girls moving away. And he thinks they're breaking up. But his friend's like, what if you don't? And he's like, what? So
Yeah, it was a different time. If somebody went across the world in 1987 or whatever, 1987, they were basically dead. I mean, fuck. No one had contact other than calling internationally.
Phone.
Yeah, it's international calls though. They're mad expensive.
You could do it though. You're a teenager. You come fast.
Love knows all. Love conquers all.
Love knows all. That's the yep. Did you notice that Maddox got a lot smaller?
It fits in that box.
It fits in the box, but also like I feel like in the first scene it was like a mech, and then it becomes more of a exosuit when Homeboy puts it on.
It is like building sized in the first scenes.
More like maybe like the size of like a big van standing on its side or something, you know, like or standing on end. It's like it looks like about twice as tall as that woman, basically. Whereas the guy puts it on, it fits in his room, and it's just like barely bigger than he is. It's very weird.
I like the design of it. I like the way that the Maddox looks. I like all the padding inside for the rider.
It looks comfy in there.
Yeah, I just think it's a really well designed exo suit. And I'm usually not a fan of these kind of clunkier looking suits, but this one's got the right stuff. It's
I like the heavy. I like the low center of gravity mechs. Yeah. None of these ballet ass fucking. You know what I hate about these fucking mechs? They just fucking.
Oh God, no.
They make these skinny mechs. They got these fucking little hips. They're looking like they look at like a lightning bolt on them. They're dancing around all fast. I want those things. I want those suckers steam powered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to have fucking black lung when I'm piloting this thing.
Your Jared is more like a 50s greaser.
Yeah, see?
He's a little yeah.
We have a crazy sequence.
Yeah, he gets in and it just busts through a wall. Everything else required is input, then it's like, all right, fuck it, and it just starts flying around.
Now.
And then he kind of gets a hold of it, and we get an extremely melodramatic flashback that's so funny. Where they're like looking out over like the harbor and everything's sparkling and it's sunset, and she's like, I'm moving away. And it's very funny.
Tonally
and
inappropriate.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's very appropriate.
Crashing into convenience stores and we're just buying groceries while we're there and trying to eat like a bento box while you're in the robot.
Oh yeah, he can't eat the shrimp. Well, he does actually. Yeah, then there's another flashback where he's just thinking about her, and she's got a straw hat. She is very cute.
No cops. No cops when you go crashing through the front of a.
Well, it just happened. It's like 5 minutes. You know, they gotta.
But they sell it to him.
Japanese cops don't. Yeah, that is. You know, they did sell it to him. I don't know. Maybe they were afraid.
Fair enough.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. So yeah, Tank Guy meanwhile is packing mad heat. He's got like a whole bunch of tanks, and Lady does not want him to destroy Tokyo, so she suits up in Unit 0, I believe they said it was. Of course, is Unit 0. I don't know if that one has a name.
I don't have a good fake name off the top of my head.
Happy Docs.
Give me a second.
No,
Happy Docs. Oh, you got it. Nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
He has to go fill up his fucking. He's gotta go fill up with diesel. What is diesel fuel?
It's like I mean, you know, it's like what you heat your, or no, well, it's not natural gas, but it's like fuel, you know.
What makes it different from gasoline?
I knew this at one point, but I forgot. But it is what some houses are heated with, I think. If it's in a house, it's dyed red. Because if you take it from a house and put it in a car, it's a felony because it's cheaper. You're not supposed to do that.
What?
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
Probably because it's like subsidized in some, or the tax situation is different for houses and cars, so you can't swap them, you know, to take advantage of that, the price.
Weird.
Something like that, yeah.
That's fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, the Maddox, he's flying through the city. He's needs to meet his girlfriend at the top of this building at 8 p.m.
That's really dramatic of her. She seems to be a dramatic person.
She's yeah, well, she has a very, you know, maybe she has a very mythopoetic worldview. Like, she can't contact him. She has to tell his friend to tell him to meet her, and it's you know, it's some kind of fate thing where she needs to make it as unlikely as possible that he will show up, and if he does, then that's a good sign, maybe, I guess.
That's kind of hot, actually. I can see that.
Really, yeah.
I gotta get me one of those kind of girls.
Really avoidant, or really like a level beyond hard to get, where she's like making puzzles almost.
Yeah, I don't want a girl who's just simple and, like, you know, explains how she feels. I want a girl who just, you really have to get out of bed at like 11 o'clock at night to go comfort her. You know, like, that's really what I want. I want like the highest demand, really difficult to maintain girlfriend. Just like a real fucker, you know?
Yeah, just leaving fucking clues as to where she is. She's gone for a month.
A Gone Girl type of bitch. You know, like fucking...
I'm looking for that, yeah.
I'm looking for fake her own death, accuse me kind of thing to prove how much I love her type deal.
Spoilers. I guess that's not what that movie's about.
Yeah.
I'm fucking sick of these broads, man. I saw this fucking movie, Gone Girl.
Fuck, that was the best thing I ever heard of. I wish you would get Gone Girl. Fuck. Ben, he's got the right idea. Poor Ben Affleck.
Oh, Ben. Right.
It looks like it hurts to live.
That's what life is like when you don't know what to do with your fucking hands and arms.
Just looking at images of sad Ben Affleck now.
Where was I? So, he fucks with these road hooligans by sawing off the hood of their car. What is this? What are you sending me? Oh, right, the one where he smokes a cigarette. Got some little boobies there, huh, Ben?
You want to see him again?
Not really.
Check him out.
What's this now?
He's fulfilled his prophecy as a Bostonian.
The Great Sadness of Ben Affleck.jpg. Oh my gosh. Think he got those tattoos after he became an actor?
I don't know.
Man, it's like every guy from Boston looks like this. He looks exactly like my cousin from the side view.
Oh yeah, for
it's
sure.
Fucking, it's unreal. That's so weird.
It didn't have to be this way, Ben.
He's fine. I bet he's fine. He loves it.
He's got kids. They
like
probably bring him a lot of happiness.
Yeah, saws off that top of that car. And then there's a sequence when he's just getting followed by guys in suits.
What? So like, why? What are these people in this car fucking with this robot for anyway? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think that that's a smart thing to do?
Yeah, they're just like, fuck this guy, you know?
Also, they send like you said, they send foot troops after, like, this is the dude with a pistol trying to hold up the Maddox.
Just no organization in the fucking
Yeah.
military. One guy's just like, yeah, I'm taking this whole tank battalion, and this lady's like, no, I'll go too. And then the fucking FBI spooks are like, we'll tail him.
Like they didn't have everybody evacuate or anything. They're just like in public.
Oh no! And like right after he's flying everywhere, now he's like trying to blend into the crowd, like walking away from these guys in suits.
Why don't you just the last thing you want to do is escalate the conflict. You don't want to be in that suit, my guy.
It's so funny. His girlfriend. So that then he blows up a helicopter, and the people around. He's like in the middle of Shinjuku, or Shibuya or something. And the people around are mildly shocked at this. They're like, "Oh no, that's bad. That this fucking Apache just exploded. Chewy, whatever they're called." His girlfriend, meanwhile, still just heading up the building. She sees an explosion. She's like, just goes up, still heads up in the elevator. Gets some more flashbacks. Then, he's running away. He ends up in a tunnel, and he runs into Unit 0, and they have a fight. Tank Man is coming. Meanwhile, he's in a tank, and he gets dropped on a raised highway from like a C-130. It's pretty cool. I feel like maybe we wouldn't appreciate it as much now, but the fact that this must have been such a bitch to draw makes me feel kind of bad for finding it a little boring. The fights are just like this. It's like the show is like robots fighting while they play the start menu music for like a 1993 Genesis platformer.
I don't really the robot on robot fight was less interesting to me than the tank fight, because the tank fight was like extra silly and that was fun. Like the tanks going upstairs and like grappling onto him and like holding on, like, hanging off an edge or a ledge. That's pretty cool. I like the cityscape in the background a lot. I like how there's just like a huge grid of streets always visible.
It's like they want it's only one-story buildings, and then there are 800-story buildings.
I noticed that as well.
That's the city. That's it. There's no. They didn't want to do anything else. They're like, nah, that's good. That's enough.
I think it's neat looking, but it just reminds me of every other 80s OVA where like there's a tower. There's always a tower.
Yeah.
It's a prerequisite to be an 80s OVA is that you need to have a big old tower that you can fight on over top of the city.
Yeah.
This is like one of the more grounded cities as well. It's not like a megapolis or anything. It's just like Tokyo, but
sure.
with a couple of big towers.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it is. Is it not just supposed to be Tokyo?
I think it is. I think it is supposed to be Tokyo.
So they're she's still they're fighting. So she finally like pins him down, and like he can't understand why people are upset that he's like destroying a city with a stolen mech suit. He's like, "What? I'm trying to meet my girlfriend. What?
So silly.
I'm just going to see my girlfriend."
I can't believe this dude's able to. I mean, I guess he's in college, which isn't a prerequisite for being. It doesn't mean he's any more intelligent, I guess.
Did they say college in the dub?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not.
No.
But yeah, he's just kind of a dope, really. I can understand.
Oh, yeah.
If I were his girlfriend, I'd want to leave his ass for sure. Unless you think he could walk all over him.
I don't think she wanted to leave, but yeah, he's a retard.
He's a bit of a fuck up for sure.
And so then she's like, "Okay, come with me." They can't get out of this. Just get out of the suits. They won't get out of the suits. They're getting another elevator. And then
you could have her pilot the robot.
Or no one, or just like, I don't know, get him out at least. Yeah, like he's not supposed to be in there, but she's like, "All right, come with me while you're in the fucking robot suit." And then, yeah, surprising betrayal by tank guy. He starts shooting at him. They still don't get out.
He claims to not know how to get out of his suit, but he does.
He does later.
Yeah.
So, he's climbing the building, evading Tank Man. He does finally see the girlfriend on the observation deck. He's on a lower floor, and they make eye contact, but then he gets fucking fragged hard.
She doesn't like that.
She's upset. So, and then he decides he can get out. So, and then yeah, the tank guy, he tosses him out, but then tank guy grapples to him, and he gets out, which allows MADOX and Tank Man and his tank all to fall. Many stories.
They don't really just, they don't get super destroyed though. Like you
They
think
fall
after
into some
falling
water.
that far they would get fucked
You
up.
gotta leave it open for a sequel, you know?
Oh, okay. MADOX-02.
They wouldn't. I told you it's too dangerous. How many MADOXes did you make? Big old
unlimited MADOX works.
Airplane hangar full of MADOX.
It's like that shot from the trailer for the new Star Wars movie where they got like 5,000 Star Destroyers.
Of course. It's like, we just make it EVE Online. Make an EVE movie. Do that. Do that there.
It's just a movie about people doing spreadsheets. They got Excel.
Hell yeah.
Oh man. That's basically what The Big Short is, actually. It's just a movie about people working with spreadsheets.
Is there like a Star Trek, but instead of being J.J. Abrams' cool action, and instead of being like social allegories, is there just like pure space autism where they're just talking about mechanical and space shit?
We need to use this much fuel to get here, and then. You know, like,
well, no, that's just The Last Jedi. I need a bit more I need a little bit more stimulation than we need this much fuel. Thanks, Rian Johnson. But you know, I want just like I just want to hear people talk about a spaceship. I want to like read like I want people to make a John Teeter post into a television series. Just explaining a fake thing.
Online.
That's probably true. Yeah.
You should do it.
They got a free trial. Yeah, that's.
You should lose your life to EVE Online.
If I end up unemployed, that's definitely in the top 5.
Holy fuck! This game's been out since 2003.
Oh my god! Really?
God.
Jeez, Iceland, come on, man. You're freaking me out.
The Bloodbath of BR5RB, a battle involving thousands of players in a single star system, took 21 hours, and it was recognized as one of the largest and most expensive battles in gaming history. Awesome.
Most expensive. What's the second most expensive battle? What does that mean?
I destroyed a GameCube controller while playing Smash the other day.
Just the other day? Oh my god.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, okay.
EVE Online was exhibited at the Museum of Modern Art, with a video including the historical events and accomplishments of the player base. Like, it sounds so good.
Huh.
Man. This is some crazy shit, man.
That's when I get my copy of Star Citizen. It's over for you bitches.
I just ordered a new processor today. I should like, what's the hardest thing to run in the world?
With a processor?
Yeah. There are games that are pretty processor dependent now.
Yeah, like what's that weird RTS that I never hear of except when it's a benchmark? I forget what it's called though.
Intensive games. Yeah, I got the 3900X. It's in the mail.
Wow.
Yep. It's 12 cores, baby.
Mm-hmm.
24 logical threads. Oh, Stellaris. Stellaris is that's a space game.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, apparently. I think that was just like a bug, though.
Huh.
I don't know.
Some city skylines.
McAfee antivirus. Great. Yeah, there's no CPU heavy games. Just like, you know, render or just crack some passwords. Download a password Or no, that's GPU now too. I don't know what you do with a CPU anymore besides video.
Feels good though. It's gonna be good. Anyway, wait, Maddox. They did kill the tank.
Did you notice the clearly looped walking animations towards the end?
That was weirdly jank.
That was
especially when
so
she's going
funny.
down the stairs.
It's like, we can't draw anything besides robots anymore. We can't draw people walking. We only drew one step and then looped it for each of these people. They really did that.
His is more convincing.
No, there's a line across the floor that like goes back. It resets. You know, it goes back a few inches. It's all fucked up. And she's only going down one stair. It's not good. She doesn't ask why he was in a robot. They just kind of hug. So
yeah, it's pretty stupid.
It's real fucking dumb.
This whole thing's pretty dumb.
Yeah, and then that ending song. Ooh, that sax.
It's classic.
It's the best Weather Channel music I've ever heard in my goddamn life. So, yeah.
We don't need another hero. Fucking that era of fucking, 80s pop balladry, but ain't no vocals, just sax.
Just only sax.
Oh, yeah, that's Maddox. It's I would call it remarkable only in terms of just like unbelievability. Just like they cared so little about making the bits fit together. Like somebody told them that you need to have a character with a relatable problem, so they just gave him girlfriend trubs and worked that into a mech thing.
Yeah.
I thought the lady was going to be a real character with an arc, but she's just I guess it's only 40 minutes, so only one person. But he doesn't even really get an arc.
No, he meets his lady.
He's in a robot.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this was meant to be like a proof of concept. I don't know if they'd make a TV show out of this. Too much robot drawing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess you could do that back then.
I wouldn't put it on my list of essential 80s OVAs or OAVs personally. But I don't know, if you get drunk, you might have a good time. That's always the thing you can do is the best thing about 80s OVAs is that the really good ones you can just appreciate on a technical level, and the really bad ones are just a fun thing to do while you're getting drunk. The
worst thing about having seen 80s OVAs is people expect you to act as if you haven't. Nailed it.
Damn. That's deep.
Was there anything else we want to talk about?
I watched Shame with two other men while drunk off my fucking ass.
Why?
I wanted to.
Was you the only one who wanted to watch Shame? The Oscar bait movie about masturbation.
It's not
about
Oscar bait. That movie
sex addiction.
Punishing. That movie is not Oscar bait. It is uncompromising.
Didn't it literally win an Oscar?
I don't think it did.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that movie is anything but. It's an uncompromising film, and it is unbelievably dark.
Well, it's about a guy. I saw this movie about a guy who gets crazy pussy. It's called Shame.
Oh, Michael Fassbender's the fucking man, bro.
They should call him Michael Assbender because he bends that ass right over. Let me tell you something, boy.
He's got this crazy junkie sister that comes around, and she's fucking fine. If I was him, I would have tapped that ass proper. Matter of fact, given the way they act around each other, it does seem like they might have some sort of dark sexual past that they share. It's kind of disturbing, but it was hot.
NC-17, huh?
Yeah, for reals. You see the whole member. All of the Fassbender.
Really?
Yep. Also, you get to see all of Carey Mulligan.
Who's she? You see the puss?
You see a decent amount of bush.
Oh, she's like an old lady looking girl. Oh no.
Old lady looking girl. They definitely fucked her up a little bit for that movie. But anyway.
No, I mean,
she's the lady in Drive. That's what most people.
I wouldn't remember the lady from Drive.
How could you forget this face? You remember this face. It'll be the last thing you ever see, motherfucker.
I don't remember anyone from Drive except my main man, and wait.
Oscar Isaac's in it.
I don't know who that is. There's another famous guy. I don't know.
Oh, Marlin from Finding Nemo is in there.
Oh
Albert
yeah,
Brooks.
Marlon from Finding.
Albert Brooks, and then you've got the guy who's got a baseball mitt for a face. Fucking Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman's in there.
Ron Perlman. That's probably who I was thinking of.
Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't come out too good, I think, in that one.
No, certainly not. Anyway, what are we talking about? Yeah, Shame, good movie. Ford v Ferrari, good movie. MADOX, maybe not. But if you're into this kind of thing, you'll get a certain level of pleasure out of it, I'm sure. What do you think?
Terrible. Yeah, it was silly. I'm just reading about Shame.
What do you got? It's the end of the decade, man.
Her name is Sissy. Yeah, I should write some top 10s. What should I write?
Top 10.
That's my, okay. List of things to do if I get fired. Okay. Top 10s of the decade. All right.
Yep.
I'm thinking top 10 shows, maybe top 20 openings, maybe top 20 endings. Why not?
You got to do specific specific archetypes of girls. Like
best, best tsundere of the decade.
Yeah, but more specific than that.
Even more specific.
Yeah.
Like best fiery redheads, or like what?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but even deeper. Like, yeah, I don't know. You'll figure it out.
You don't have any examples for what level of specificity you're looking for here?
No, you'll know it when you see it.
Best fluffy-haired A cup.
Now we're talking. Yep.
Okay.
Best cotton candy.
Best fluffs. It would be Kumiko. It would be
fluffiest girls.
It would be what's her name? Yuki something from Girls in Panzer. Those are the top two, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, see, just you gotta get 8 more.
I can do that. I can do more than 8. Yeah.
I can do top 10 things that I started and didn't finish.
That'd be a good one. you should do one where you you write the rest of the show based on the 2 episodes you saw.
I could do that. Yeah. But it's gonna be like a lot of stuff from like the 90s.
You started a lot of stuff from the 90s this decade.
Yep.
Didn't finish it.
Top 10 romance anime I watched 4 episodes of.
Yeah.
I think I know everything that happens in fucking No Lion, Three-Gatsu no Lion.
Oh yeah,
that one figured out.
You probably watched 2 episodes of that.
I was in an airport, and when I woke up, I had forgotten everything I watched in my sleepy stupor. So I'm like, well, I'd have to rewatch those, and I don't know if I want to do that. So
yeah, just just write down how much you watched, and then just write the rest of the show with no, not even speculatively,
definitively.
Not just I think this just he does this, he goes here, the show ends like this, just finish Tatami Galaxy based on the 3 episodes you watched.
It's crazy that the main character ends up going to war and he gets killed in the front.
Yeah, in the I'm going to the front.
Yeah, no, I can totally do that. That'd be fun.
That's a good feature. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and I'll do EVE Online.
Top 10 shows I won't watch because they're ugly.
Because the broads are too ugly.
Yep. No, they're nothing but fuggos.
What's ugly? I mean, anime is the most pleasant-looking art form. What are you not into?
Sometimes there aren't sexy ass hoes in there. Sometimes they don't appeal to my specific tastes.
So no Vinland Saga then?
I can do Vinland Saga. That's the one thing I didn't finish.
Well, I mean, it's not done yet. You can't finish it.
Oh, okay.
And also, you can't do things you only watched 1 episode of, or maybe you can. I don't know, but It needs to be it should be things you attempted to watch. It's like because
I'll have to look through my folders on my computer and say like, oh yeah, right.
yeah, because you're not gonna remember what you tried to watch otherwise.
Yeah. Kimi no Uso. Let's see.
Wait, Kimi no. In the April in the okay, yeah.
Yep, that's one.
Yeah.
It's all romance animes.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta call it.
Yeah. The girl. What's Pet no Kanajo? Pet no Kanajo. Probably started that one.
Yes.
Okay. Well. Thanks for joining us for our tremendous return.
Triumphant.
Yes.
Splendiferous. Wonderful. Yeah. Sorry that you had to witness us create an abomination, an unholy creature. What did we name this fuck again?
I think I called him Jared.
Jared? Yeah, I'm sorry about Jared.
I like Jared.
He's got a soul patch, I think.
Jared's coming back. He's here to stay, baby.
That's right, baby.
Jared never dies.
Ma! Ma, my monster! Where's the Gronk? Where's Gronk?
Ma, where's the Gronk?
I want Gronky!
Mommy, Jared want Gronky! This guy did not record this right.